The neighbor's bunnies on Jim Miller's garden. You guys are getting big. I bet you guys I bet you guys go through a whole pan of rabbit food every day. You're cute. Yeah. You getting cleaned up? You going to a bunny party? You guys are cute. There's 6 here. Oh, what? Hey, is there 10 of these guys? They're breeding like rabbits. What mommy? I think that's the daddy bunny. Half of them are colored like daddy. Where's mommy? Mommy's probably having issues. Come on out here. Whoop. You guys are quick. Why don't you come up here on this brick over here and say hi? Why don't you come over here? Oh, bunny party. Look at you guys. I hear some bunny kicking. Someone's watching. Hello. Someone's watching the bunnies. Someone's already gave me a thumbs up. Look at these guys. Look at you guys running around. Neighbors, bunnies. I had nothing to do with this. Yeah, mommy and daddy bunny got my garden and ate the corn a little bit and the onions and the sunflower. And this is what we got in return. A bunch of babies. I think there's 10 of them. Bunnies. I can't go on that side. This chicken wire is blocking out the screen. See, that's a little better. Ducks, what are you up to? Did you win the chicken war? They had to put the chickens in their own kennel over there because a hawk came down and killed one, so the chickens were getting out all the time too. Look at these bunnies. Bunnies. I can have bunny video all day. Where you going? Why don't you go run? Well, I better get back to what I'm out for. I'll go look at the chickens. If I can get around this mess. Okay. Oh, rooster's showing off again. What? I'm sorry you have to be confined. They used to be all over in this outer pen, and a hawk got one of the chickens, and they got enclosed. Hey, have you crowed yet? Why don't you crow? Don't be shy. I never heard you crow yet. Sienna, why don't you teach this he's bigger than you, this other rooster how to crow. Don't chase him. I think he's afraid to crow. You might get whacked. All right. And we got the silky chickens in a tiny pen. I guess maybe they were picked on over here when there's too many chickens in a small area. Why don't you crow over there? He's scared. He's scared of crowing. Okay. Get out of this. There's Sweetwater Creek down there. Sweetwater, Tennessee. Hey bunnies. Are you making me some fertilizer for the garden? Got a bunch of bunny pellets down there. Uh-oh, someone's up there. Hello. I bet it jumps when well, hello. Are you a boy or girl? I think it's a girl. Has that girl look to it. I'm not a bunny person. That looks like a girl something. You're running around. Cute. Maybe I'm gonna grab a weed. Oh, don't jump. Okay. Where'd that stuff go? Oh, they're fighting over that. Okay, I'm gonna get out of these bunny fest. Take a look at the garden. Okay. Well, here's a pumpkin or a squash that I put this round thing, this lid in front of it, but the chickens are permanently shut in, so I just removed that, give it more sun. Here's another squash, and where's that large one at? Okay, here's a good one over here. Those rabbits got me excited. Okay, now that one's probably going to be a decent jack-o'-lantern. I just sprayed the pumpkins for these, what are they? The worms that burrow into the pumpkin, and I just sprayed them for that a few minutes ago. Yeah, where are you? This tomato finally, this volunteer tomato, oh, there you are. It's got a couple tomatoes on it, finally. They're gonna be pretty good sized ones. That's a volunteer, it came up from seeds in a kind of away from the main garden. It got here somehow. And over there standing up is a tomatillo. And it's in the tomato family, and people make salsa verde out of it. And I've never even had salsa verde, so maybe something to try. And here's another. Oh, that one's gonna make a nice jack. Put a big face on that one. Okay. And here's another one. It's been raining lately and the squash have been putting out pretty well. Here's a volunteer tomato. I just re-staked it up. I use caution tape to tie to a tree limb, and it works for me. Okay. And here's another tomato plant. I think that one was originally in the, oh, there's a tomatillo on the ground. This was originally in a squash hill of volunteer tomatoes that I brought over. And it's about the only thing alive in that hill. Is that a, it's got a worm in it. I hope it's getting wormy. I think it's got a hole in it. Well, I'll salvage what's in it for the next chili. I'm gonna put it in the tomato bucket. Okay, there you go. Okay, I picked these this morning, and it's been 2 days since I picked them. Picked tomatoes, and they're starting to back off a lot. I was getting a half of a 5-gallon pail every other day, and then they've come down a lot on ones getting ripe, and I've been making chili all summer. And here's this pineapple's really looking good. Now that's a legitimate pineapple. That was the top of this one that had a pineapple on it, and I put the top in another planter, and it's growing. And this is another one that's not, gosh, it could be 3-4 years old, and it's still, I think maybe there's a trick to getting these to fruit. I think they're supposed to put an apple inside of a bag over the top of the plant, and it puts off gas, and it encourages pineapples to fruit. Okay. And here's my toilet tomato. It's still growing a few tomatoes. It's had a lot this year. And here's one of my caged fence post tomatoes. I think this thing is probably, if it was stretched out, it might be 9-10 foot high. And it's got a real nice large tomato on it. I've been wanting this. Ooh, there's no bugs. I've been wanting this to get ripe so I can get it off the vines, but it's taking its time. I'm done with that area. Okay, I'll skip over the top. And here's these. I don't think there's anything on these yet. Here's some squash that was next to this building. Oh, there's one. Well, there's one here. I don't know where it came from. that came from the hill. There was a hill. There was a hill of volunteers I put right over there, and this is from that patch. But these over here they're taking a long time to put on melon or not pumpkins, and it's because there was corn. This was the right in here was my third corn. It's long gone, cut up, and they ate it all. We ate it all, and these squash were behind it, and they were really shaded, and they just didn't do much, and they're still not putting fruit on, but they look healthy and they're crawling around, so they'll eventually put a squash or two on eventually. Okay, I'll go back to this. This is that bush Goliath tomato that was planted pretty early in the spring. I mean, I think we put it out in April, and it's still, I picked a tomato. A lot of those tomatoes I picked were off of this plant, about 3 or 4, and there's more coming all the time. It's probably had at least 30 good tomatoes on it already, at least. And here is some cabbage. These are flat Dutch. This is an experiment. I tried cabbage in the late summer one other time, but the bugs kept eating it. Now that I know that Captain Jack's BT takes care of the bugs, they look pretty good. I just sprayed them today. That first one's got some holes in its leaf, so bugs are starting to eat it, but they look real good. We'll see if maybe we'll have a good sized head of cabbage in November, or it'll overwinter and then put on a cabbage in the spring. So it's up in the air what's gonna happen. Okay, here is my tomatoes I put in planters. I had a bunch of planter boxes laying around, and some volunteer tomatoes that I ran out of room in the garden to put them, and I put them in these planters. Took the neighbor's chicken manure, and they've been fairly productive for the most part. There's one here that hasn't produced yet. Which one? It's this one. It's blooming, but I read that if there's too much nitrogen, the leaves curl up and they don't do so well. But they've kind of come out of that part because I think this manure is broken down enough to make it, the tomatoes will do better. And here's some a couple little avocados that they came out of the compost, and I felt sorry for them, so I brought them up and put them in planters. And this is not going to be, they're not going to make fruit or anything because we're in the wrong part of the world, but we'll take these inside for the winter and grow, and they'll keep, they'll grow. We got one that's about chest high from several years ago. It's still alive. It's like 5-6 years old. And here is a real late volunteer squash. The chances are it may or may not put on a fruit, who knows. And here's some more volunteer squash. These were in the first corn of the year. I brought manure from the neighbor's chickens, and I was feeding them pumpkins during the winter, and the seed came back to the garden. So I think down there there's a pumpkin on it, and here's a real messy. Yesterday I had this tomato, now that's right here in this cage, and I spent like 20 minutes resetting it, and then well, that's pretty rotten. And the tree limb I tied it to broke, so I said, and I just threw it over here on top of this other cage, and I may get to it later and get properly set. What is that? This is, yeah, that's a brandywine. Quite a few tomatoes on it. And I think this is a Mr. Stripey. Do you have anything? Nope, there's no current tomatoes, but look at the top is clean, and it's got blossoms. It'll put on some more tomatoes. Here is my cantaloupe patch. The cantaloupe have been harvested. There's two really nice big ones I have to cut up yet, but I'm just gonna leave this. It's probably pretty much done for the year. Okay. Some more volunteer tomatoes. I planted like a small row. I had a little place, a bare place, and I brought some tomatoes over here that were volunteer. This has been quite, especially this plant, quite a few tomatoes have grown on it. Quite productive. And this one here is pretty decent. And here is like the last of the volunteer tomatoes that came up. I got a cage from another tomato that died, and I'm giving it a real decent chance to grow. It does have a very small tomato on it. Come on, there's two of them actually. Ooh, I'm getting blurry. Right there. Okay, and here's another little volunteer tomato. I think it came out of this I brought some compost down, and it grew. This one grew a lot of. There's supposed to be a potato in there somewhere, but these are nightshade. Oh, there's a green one in there. Nightshade berries. Oh boy, that's yummy. What's some more? Boy, oh boy. Come on. Yeah, you can kind of stand around and get breakfast real quick. And here is another of those tomatillos. These came in probably with birds. They ate one of the fruits somewhere, and the seeds germinated. And that's pretty cool. I get something exotic, something new, a new plant to work with. And there likely it's probably a Latino family that in the area that had, because they grow them like crazy. That's one of their staples, is the tomatillos. There's another of the nightshade. But down in it, here's a potato, a volunteer potato. I missed one. I think it's a Kennebec. And it might have like tomatoes that are like, I don't know, like a little cherry, or not that big. It won't. If it even has a potato, it won't be very big. And here's a little watermelon. This is a volunteer. My main watermelons did poorly this year because they rotted on the ends, and I got not very many of them. So I'm gonna have a watermelon later in the year, 2-3 weeks. And here's a volunteer marigold. that just came up in this corn row. Now this is marigolds that the neighbors had the last few years, and the seed got over here and started growing. And here is what's left to my 4th corn planting. And I looked at it this morning and it's pretty much done. I need to cut down the remaining stalks. Here's another volunteer tomato. And I'm using this sunflower stalk to have it climb on, and it's working pretty well. This corn here, it didn't pollinate right. It put the silks out after the tassels were done blooming. But I brought pollen from my 5th corn and brought it over here, and I put it on the silks, and maybe we'll have some tiny ears in a few weeks. I gave it a shot, so it may do something. I'm out of this. I'm pretty much out of this garden, this older garden. And here's a compost pile I just put in. The neighbor had some leaves and stuff, mulch, and I threw the rotten vegetables down here and put the leaves on top. And here's another compost pile that I put chicken manure on top of it, so I'm gonna have some soil to work with next year. Okay, now here is some tomatoes that came up out of a small seam between the house and the sidewalk, and they did pretty good. I don't know how they made it. It was pretty dry at times this summer, and there's no way of watering them except rain, and we've been kind of low on rain lately. This one here is wilting because it's starved for moisture. It rained like 2 days ago and it didn't help it. So, and I can't water it because it doesn't go soak in. I mean, I can be creative and try to water it, but it'll go through its thing and be done. Here are some turkey craw beans that I'm letting to go to seed. The members of the family wanted some seed, and there's a lot of pods. And I'm gonna about a couple days from now, when they get a little drier, I'll pick the ones that are ripe. They really put out the beans this year. And they tasted good. The family really liked them cooked, and I think they put bacon and onions and everything in it, and it was good. I made it differently. I put potatoes in with butter and cooked it, and we had a lot of beans this year. Okay. These pails with lids are full of water. All these things here were empty before the rain 2 days ago, and I got 7 pails, and lots of these other things got some water in it. So and it's not supposed to rain, and I got this one. This is kind of the lid. I put this little basket and keep the sun from evaporating the water out of this barrel. So I got a little water, and it probably go on this corn. This is my 5th sweet corn, and it's looking really amazing. Let's see if we can get some pollen. There's some, look, that pollen. And I got that one to hit the silks. So I might do it all the way down through here. Oh, that one's really got the pollen. Are you going the right place? Are you going over there? So, yeah, last week I videoed, and this stuff wasn't even tasseling much. I think the tassels were emerged, and now a lot of silks have emerged. And these are quite tall. They're like 7.5 foot. Amazing. They're really tall. They don't look like they got much disease of any sort. Last year I had a big problem with disease on this corn. When I plant, I spay up the ground real good and, put 4 seeds. I put in 4 seeds and try to get 3. And this year, I don't think I ever replanted, try to get 3 seeds because of some of the seed failed. So I've had a real good corn emergence this year. I hope I can find that. My corn seed's going to run out next year that I bought at the co-op. And I hope they still sell it because this is peaches and cream. And let's see. That one went too far. The wind's blowing out of the west. Oh, I missed again. I hand pollinated this earlier and got enough. I did a pretty good job of getting pollen and then on it. I'm gonna try this one here. That one's better. So the wind will take care of a lot of this pollination today that I didn't quite do. Let's do this one. Okay, got that one. So, and the corn down here on this end of the rows is a little less mature than the others because the sunlight's somewhat less than up there. All these trees. I'll show you this tree I cut down last year. I cut that tree right there down about this time last year, and it gives me a nice little gap for an hour or two where the sun is. Now the sun just did me a favor. It showed me, it's just like magic. The sun came up behind the cloud, and it's showing me where it shines. This would be shaded out if that tree was still there. So it gives this lower end a pretty good chance to grow stuff. There's another volunteer potato. That potato is from last year, and it came up in the spring, and I dug it, and I missed more potatoes. So this is like the 3rd time it's come up, and there may be some on it. It looks like it's got a chance. It's supposed to be cool weather this week, and that's what potatoes like. Here's some more. Here's a squash hill. And where is that? No, that one doesn't have one yet, but this one. Where are you? I thought we had one. Oh, there you are. There's a little, like a zucchini type squash on that one. These look terrible during the summer. Most of them died out. Heat, diseases and whatnot. And I think I had, there was 3 hills down here. No, it was 2 or 3. And here's a better looking. I don't know if both of those will make it because the bigger ones usually take the nutrition and that little one turns yellow and drops off. We'll see what it looks like next week. Okay. And here's my earlier cabbage. I still got most of them in the fridge. I'm gonna make some sauerkraut here soon on the heads I got from this. Just got to get some energy. And they're not looking very good. Uh, I sprayed them a lot, but the bugs kind of got to them, and I sprayed a little harder. I think the bugs are out. But, there's a lot of these molds and stuff. This one's pretty good. So there'll be a little bit of cabbage here and there into the fall. And the thing is, these cabbages, if they survive the winter and in various situations, they will put on cabbage next spring. That's what I had up in this upper garden. I had cabbage, and one of the plants put on a third year of cabbage. It was a tiny cabbage, but it was a cabbage. It was a, what was it? Oh, a Jersey Wakefield. It had a pointed end on. They have pointed ends. And for the third year, it had cabbage in 22, 23, and 24. So that was kind of it. And the plants are still alive. Who knows, they might make it through the next year. It's okay. Okay, here's what's left of the beefsteak tomatoes. I picked a few this morning off of it. They're kind of winding down. But they may put out tomatoes until November, a little here and there. So there was 13 originally. I think one died, so there's a dozen left. They're not all that big anymore, but this chili don't care how big they are. Okay, here's a little, I fertilized that this morning, a little squash. And these squash over here came up in my second corn rows, and they got the whole corn patch covered with squash vines. And like up there, these squash came over in seed in the chicken manure. And I thought, well, I'm not going to pull them. I'm going to let them grow after the corn's cut down. Okay, there's one. I'll zoom in. And there's a nice green one over there, green squash. So they're starting to put out relatively well. I try to keep them the pumpkin borers off by spraying them. And I'm back. Ooh, I gotta zoom out. Okay, here's a small row of tomatoes, volunteer tomatoes. I brought these down pretty early in the year. They've been kind of mediocre. They had disease problems, and over here these got competition problems. I let this marigold grow, and it's getting big, and it's kind of choking out these two tomatoes. So, well, it is what it is. I don't know if I can get up through there. Oh, let's look at these peppers. Here's some giant Marconi peppers. I've been putting them in the chili every time. It just seemed to be, when a pepper's ripe, it's just time to make chili. That's kind of what's been happening. And this one's about head high. So there's going to be some decent amount of peppers until frost. And that's just a sweet pepper. They're very good. Okay, this is another row, my most successful row of volunteer tomatoes. I brought a good 15 of plants down and stuck them in and rode them out. And Some of these put on very large tomatoes. They're kind of winding down. There's tomatoes here and there. Okay. Well, I was just up there. No, I wasn't. It's like a maze. I got to go round and round and move the tomato again and get in here and look at these yellow tomatoes. Nana got some, what she thought was pineapple tomatoes, and they end up being just yellow tomatoes. And we've been getting a lot of them. They're kind of winding down. There's not very big and not very many left. And I'm running out of props. I use what I can to prop them up. And it's just, they're dying back. They'll probably put tomatoes on until frosts here and there. This garden's this end of the garden, you can see it's shaded, and it's almost, well, it's 10 in the morning. But this end here, down here, doesn't get much sun until about 2 p.m. So it really doesn't get much. It gets that little gap here in the morning through the wickets. It gets a little hit of sun. But the sun's starting to get lower, and the trees are shading it out. And I'm just happy that this end of this new garden, we cut some branches with these trees behind it, and it's gotten more sun. Like several years ago, we did a good amount of cutting. Had a pro come out and cut, and I did a lot of cutting myself. That area through there was pretty much all shaded, and I did the cutting. I cut some trees down and trimmed, and not a chainsaw. I just used a rope and a chainsaw chain, and I did a lot of work to get that cleaned out. And it gets a little morning sun, so every little bit helps. The neighbors then it was last year, there was a huge spruce right in this hole here, and having that thing gone made a huge difference. So I can have a real sizable garden, and it does well. So I'm really happy with that. Here is some purple sweet potatoes. There's 4 hills here, but they're all intermingled and taking up a huge area. I have to throw them out of the tomato row. I try to get this foliage as much sun as possible. I don't want them climbing into there and get stepped on and shaded. And they're growing, where was that potato? Kind of right here where I'm looking was the red potato row. So the watermelons have climbed over and got into the sweet potatoes and squash too. This whole area is this nice little green squash right there. This area's got all filled in. I dug the potatoes. This was all blank, and and everything grew in it. That was the plan. It's working to its, exactly what it should do is you plant it where, if you got a vine plant, you put something in the place where it's going to climb that gets harvested, and then you let it take over the area. It saves room. So, okay, I'm going to go up here on this squash plant. This was a volunteer plant that I really didn't want because it was kind of close to the watermelon patch. And it's finally decided to Drop a couple squash. Where's that other one? Okay, here's another one. That looks, I can make a stir fry with that if someone wanted to. There's not much want to in the kitchen lately. I'm gonna go find that. And here's a couple of, was it butternut squash? They're tiny, but they're usable. Where's that? Oh, I know where it is. There's a nice size one over here if I can. This is a, oh man, what a disaster. Early in the year I planted squash and it was squash, pumpkins, and most of them died out, and tomatoes have there was tomato seed in the soil, so they grew tomatoes too. The tomatoes are they're kind of there, but they're not really that good. They just add to the chili pot, but they're there. Okay, where's that watermelon? Both of them. Ooh, that's a funny looking one. At least it's not rotting on the end. And here is a nice looking butternut squash. I'm gonna try to, they said you can make pumpkin pies with them, so I'm gonna give that a shot later. Where is that good watermelon? Okay, this is decent. That's nice. That's okay. That's pretty good. But I planted a patch of watermelons in the spring here, and I hardly got anything from them because they would rot on the ends, and they would just not, they wouldn't, they would, there was one or two that I cut the end off, the rotten part, and it was ripe enough to eat. And one was actually really good. It was not very big, and half a watermelon. It was really good. But this is new ground, and I don't know why the watermelons. This was lawn last year. This is actually the trampoline was right there, and this was new ground. I don't know what. There should have been enough nutrition for those watermelons. I don't know if it was the weather. I haven't figured out why watermelons will do good and then not do good, and do good in like worked over soil, and then like up there there's a watermelon and it's soil that's had watermelons in it for quite a while, so it's a mystery it's not a watermelon, you just say. And purple sweet potatoes, there is a lot of vines. I hope I don't have to water that, because it's about being impossible to water this if it got dry. We just had 3/4 of an inch of rain a couple days ago, and it's going to hold this for another week. The weather's going to be cool for this week, so it'll be fine. But I might take a hose at the top there and just put it through the fence and let it run and see if it gets down here at the bottom if we need watering. But they're going crazy. They're just climbing all over. So I think we're gonna have sweet potatoes. Oh, the thing with these sweet potatoes, I think I said the story last week. Groundhogs, well, some of them climbed over the fence and burrowed under the fence, and they ate all the tops off. Well, I trapped them, and I did away with them, and I buried them here for the sweet potatoes to get their revenge. So you do what you got to do. So I'm gonna show everybody on the late part of this little video. I'm gonna show everybody the bunnies again. The bunnies kind of stirred up some viewership. And here's that corn. This corn is Really looking good. I think I'm zoomed. Nope. You got four plants and 4 silks. Actually, more than 4. I had a lot of corn this year that put out 2. Each stalk would, a lot of stalks would put out 2 ears, and they would actually have corn on both of them. So I'm getting better. I was lucky. I was happy to get half an ear other years on my corn, and now I'm getting 2 ears on each stalk, and they're big ones. Some of these stalks had 2 really big ears on them. Okay, going back through. Pretty good looking garden for August. Oh, I gotta put my tomatoes up. Oh, here's a patch of grass that I left. I got a bare spot up in the front yard that gets poor sun, and I'm gonna take this and I'll probably just cut it and lay it, and then put chicken manure on top of it, and then try to get some grass growing. What you upset about, chicken? I don't know. Chickens, when they lay their egg, they get up and they start complaining, or they're proud or something. Bunnies, you're back. You like it up there? You like it up there? Are you a different one? Look at me. Sweetie, look at me. Wow, I want to look at you. Bunnies. Look like they're having their bunny siesta. They're kind of saying, we're trying to sleep. There's mommy. Mommy bunny. You ate my corn. You came pretty close to being bunny soup. I don't like bunnies eating my corn. Oh, you're getting a little sip. Good thing you stayed out of the corn, because I get little baby bunnies to look at. Cute boogers. They're quick. What is she gonna do with these? What is she gonna do with these guys? You know why there's bunnies all around? Tame bunnies, because they're cute as hell. What you eating? It looks like cabbage. You get better food than I do. Let's see, I'll zoom into that. Yeah, it's cleaning up. Yeah, when I come to the bunnies, people start watching. That garden is so boring. People watch. Oh, I gotta zoom back out. That's terrible. Okay, maybe the chickens are jealous. Let's see if the chickens will get more viewers. I doubt it. I think people are gonna leave. Kalakabak. Who was squawking over here? You want to fight? I'll take you. You want to fight? Ooh, what is? Oh, that's a post hole. I thought it was like, yeah. Are those groundhogs back? Well, there is a groundhog running around. I saw a groundhog last 2 and 3 days, but as long as he stays out of the garden, I'm pretty good. If he starts doing stuff and bring his family along, it's time to trap him again. What are you guys up to? Who laid that egg? I'm gonna go around and look at the nest. I don't know why this black chicken can barely see. It's got feathers in front of its face. And why are they like that? I mean, like predators can just come up and grab them. So I don't know, that's a mystery. Okay, I'm gonna go walk around and look at the nest. Yep, there he goes. Why don't you get that young rooster to crow? You got a crow for me. Okay. Yeah. I don't got a very good vision here. Well, you're full of chickens. We know. I hear deer flies flying around my... Quit it. Deer flies are... Yeah, I don't see any eggs. I see a chicken sitting on them. These speckled guys are really pretty. You've been dropping eggs for me? Quick. I don't miss catching you guys and throwing back in the pen. What? Back. Hey, the chickens picked up like 3 viewers. That's pretty good. I thought you guys would scare away viewers. Oh, I think she's looking for a spot. Kabak. I feel sorry for you little guys in there. Poor guys in a little pen. Uh-oh. I can't get through this. Well, I'll do something about that. I couldn't squeeze through that gap. Okay. It's a lot of work to do farm animals. And it's not my job, except getting manure for the garden. Okay. People dropped off. All right, thanks for watching. Jim Miller's Garden. I think I had a good number of people watching today. I tricked people by putting a bunny show on, and then I did a garden show. But the garden, as I went through the garden, the viewers kept going up, so I'm happy with that. Kind of showing people what I do with my vegetable garden in East Tennessee. And I'm going to wrap this up, and I might do another one next week. Look at them bunnies again. Well, thanks for watching on Jim Miller's garden. And this is kind of fun to do. I'll have an archive of my garden to look at 5 years from now. That's a good idea. And maybe I like this channel. I had a real good viewership today. I really appreciate that. And you're gonna wrap this up, and I'm gonna go in and have some chili, I think, for breakfast. So thank you, Jim Miller's garden. I'm going in the house. Thanks for watching.